Welcome to the deep dive. You send us the sources, we unpack them, we try to pull out the key insights and, see how they connect to life today.
That's the goal.
So today we're looking at some fascinating excerpts. They come from the Dhammikattheravatthu, which is an old Buddhist text.
Ancient wisdom indeed.
And our mission really is to explore the story inside it. It's about a man who chooses a spiritual path and maybe surprisingly how that choice impacts his whole family.
Yeah, and the kind of timeless wisdom we can maybe pull from this narrative. It's quite a compelling story.
It sounds like it. It offers a real glimpse into how people thought about personal fulfillment and family dynamics way back then.
Absolutely. And while the setting is obviously very different from ours, the core ideas of individual choices, their consequences, they still feel very relevant, I think.
Okay, so let's dive in. The story kicks off in a place called Savatthi. We meet this layman, and the text says he's living by the Dhamma.
Right, which basically means he's living ethically, following Buddhist principles. A good life, by all accounts.
But even with that, he feels this pull, this strong desire to renounce the world, to become a monk.
It's that classic feeling, isn't it? That even when things seem okay on the surface, there might be a deeper calling.
Exactly. What do you do when you feel that nudge towards something more, even if your life looks, pretty complete?
It's a powerful thing, that internal drive. So the story then shows him talking to his wife about it.
Yeah.
And her reaction is just, well, it's completely understandable.
Yeah, what does she say?
She asks him to wait. First, just until their child is born. The text even gives us her words. Something like, "My Lord, please wait until I give birth to the child I'm carrying."
Wow. You can really feel her concern there. For the immediate future, for the family.
Definitely. And then later, after the child is born and starts walking, she asks it again.
She pleads again.
Yeah, basically say, "Wait a bit longer, my Lord, until this child is grown up." It really highlights that tension.
That tension between wanting personal growth, maybe spiritual growth in this case, and the responsibilities you feel to your family, your loved ones.
Precisely. Her requests are grounded in very real practical concerns. But what's striking is his response.
He doesn't just dismiss her, does he?
Yeah,
But he has his own view.
exactly. He acknowledges her point, implicitly maybe, but his own commitment to finding release from suffering dukkha takes priority.
Right. His reasoning is very direct. Something like, what does it matter to me looking after or not looking after? I need to find my own release from suffering.
It's quite a stark declaration, isn't it? That ultimate responsibility for his own spiritual path lies with him.
Yeah, it's a powerful focus on personal liberation. His conviction is that this journey is the most important thing for him.
And while maybe tough for his wife at that moment, it does reflect a core idea in many spiritual paths. You're ultimately responsible for your own inner state.
It brings up a question for us too, right? How do we balance our own deep aspirations with our commitments to others, to family, society? It's not always easy.
Not at all. So he does it. He leaves, becomes a monk, really dedicates himself to the practice.
And then he eventually returns to Savatthi. And this is where the story takes another turn, doesn't it? His journey starts to affect others.
It really does. He shares the Dhamma, the teachings, with his son.
And the son is receptive.
Very much so. He's inspired. So inspired, in fact, that he also decides to become a monk. And quite remarkably, the text says he quickly attains arahantship.
Which is, remind us.
Arahantship, that's a state of full enlightenment in Buddhism. Complete liberation from suffering. Profound wisdom.
Wow. So the father's commitment directly leads to the son's enlightenment. That shows the potential ripple effect, doesn't it?
A very powerful ripple effect. But it doesn't stop there.
The wife.
The former wife, yes. Seeing her husband and her son both renounce the world and achieve this spiritual height, she has her own moment of clarity.
What does she think?
Her thought process is laid out. Who am I living this householder life for now? They've both gone forth. What's the point of this life for me anymore? I'll go forth too.
So her reason for maintaining the home, the family unit in that way, it dissolved once they both pursued the spiritual path.
Exactly. The foundation of her householder role, as she saw it, had changed completely. So she follows suit, becomes a nun.
And does she also?
Yes. Just like her son, the text says she also attains arahantship shortly after becoming a nun.
Incredible. So the whole family unit finds enlightenment, each in their own way, but all stemming from that initial difficult decision by the layman.
It's quite an extraordinary outcome. And you, the listener who sent this in, might find that chain reaction really resonates. How one person's deep conviction can create waves.
naturally this story, this family's journey, it gets talked about.
Within the monastic community, the Sangha, the monks are in the assembly hall discussing this layman, the one who lived by the Dhamma.
What am I saying?
They're remarking on how his commitment, his own practice and enlightenment ended up being a foundation, a support. Patiya is the word used for his son and wife, too.
So they recognize that his path didn't just benefit him.
Right. They explicitly connect his achievement to the subsequent achievements of his family.
And it's at this point the Buddha arrives.
Yes. He comes in, asks what they're discussing, they tell him the story.
And this leads to a key teaching from the Buddha himself.
It does. He uses this story as a launching point for a really central teaching, delivered first as a verse.
Okay, what's the verse?
It goes, Na atahetu, na parasahetu, na putamiche, na tananarhai, na icheya, atamena, samidimatano, sasilawa panyava dhammikosya.
Okay, quite dense. Let's try and unpack that a bit. Nata hetu, na parasa hetu. Not for oneself, not for others.
Exactly. Don't seek success, or samidhi, through unrighteous means, adhamena. Not for your own sake, and not for the sake of others either.
So the method matters hugely. It's not just about getting what you want.
Precisely. And it continues. Don't desire children, or wealth, or power like a kingdom if getting them requires doing wrong, acting unethically.
Even your own success, your own samidhi, shouldn't be pursued unrighteously.
That's the core message. The ethical foundation is paramount. It's a strong statement against the idea that the ends justify the means.
Especially if those means involve harm or injustice.
Right. And the verse finishes by describing the person who lives this way.
Sasilava panyava dhammikosya. He is
virtuous, slava, wise, panyava, and righteous, Dhammika.
So living ethically, choosing the right means, is directly linked to developing virtue and wisdom. It's about the kind of person you become through your actions.
Exactly. It's not just about achieving external goals, but about inner character, aligning yourself with what's right, regardless of the immediate payoff.
And this teaching, when the Buddha delivered it, had a real impact.
A significant impact. The text says many people listening attain different stages of spiritual awakening right then and there, like Sotapathifala, the first stage of enlightenment.
So it wasn't just abstract theory. It was practical guidance that could genuinely transform people's understanding.
Absolutely. It shows this wisdom wasn't just a nice idea, but a lived path, a way to ground your life in principles that lead to real inner growth.
Okay, so as we wrap up this particular deep dive, it feels like there are maybe two main threads. First, there's the story itself, showing how one person's really strong commitment to an ethical, spiritual path can, maybe unexpectedly, uplift others.
That ripple effect.
But then there's the Buddha's direct teaching, which almost zooms out from the specifics of monkhood and says, look, whatever you're striving for, spiritual goals, worldly success, family well-being, the way you strive matters most.
Don't let the desire for the outcome, even a seemingly good outcome like children or wealth, lead you down an unethical path.
Right. The means have to be righteous. True well-being isn't just about getting what you want, but about how you live, how you act, integrity.
That seems to be the crucial point. It's not anti-aspiration, but it demands we examine our motivations and methods very carefully.
Which leaves a final thought for you, listening. Think about what you're striving for in your own life. Big goals, small goals, personal stuff, work stuff, family stuff.
Take a moment.
And ask yourself, are my motivations, and importantly my methods, aligned with ethical principles? Am I considering the impact not just on me but on others? Is the way I'm going about it righteous?
Could it be that the most lasting kind of success, the deepest well-being, actually comes from acting with integrity, doing the right thing, even when the immediate results aren't guaranteed?
Something to definitely mull over.